In order to change the conversation about our products, we challenged our organization to bring out 16 all-new or substantially refreshed products. You may have heard the story before about how we accomplished this in a mere 19 months, because now it's become sort of a mantra for the whole group. But the speed and the quality of that execution were beyond any conventional expectations. It took a fearless team effort to bring about such remarkable results. We understood that consumer attitudes about Chrysler lagged behind this new reality that we were building. And in order to draw attention, we set out to break the mold, even when it came to advertising. Out-of-the-box thinking led us to approach M&M, who had never before appeared on a commercial, and to craft a Chrysler 200 ad that paid homage to our industrial roots in Detroit and celebrated the resilience of the people who make up our group, people who have been to hell and back and yet aspire to create a better future. With this commercial, we took a chance and became the first marketer to run a 2-minute commercial on the Super Bowl. It was a calculated all-or-nothing risk. And in fact, we need a special permission from the network and from the league to delay resumption of the game to run the spot. As you all know, the commercial was wildly popular during the game, and on YouTube, it has surpassed now 21 million views. It has also won the award at the Cannes International Advertising Festival in France as the best automotive commercial in the world. Some critics questioned whether it would also move metal, and the answer is in the numbers. For the full year, the Chrysler 200 ended up outselling its predecessor by 127%. Another area where we sought to create a new paradigm was in labor negotiations. History has taught us that the old adversarial relationships will lead us all on a path of irrelevance in today's global markets. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, we must learn to live together as brothers or to perish together as fools. And our negotiations with the UAW were tough, but in the end, both sides realized that we could not afford to repeat the mistakes of the past, the same mistakes that brought us into bankruptcy, and it would have been shameful to squander the incredible second chance that we had received with the assistance of taxpayers. All of our people, represented and non-represented, have worked together with unwavering dedication to bring Chrysler back from the brink. And it is only right that we should all share in the success so far and in the wealth that we hope to create in the years ahead. At the same time, we also know that success is never assured. Our industry is by definition cyclical, and we cannot leave ourselves vulnerable by taking on fixed costs that constrain our ability to survive the inevitable downturn. I believe that the 4-year agreement that we have reached with the UAW moves us towards this new path, and it is my hope that it will actually represent a new era that will yield positive results. Now, last month, Fiat also reached a historical contract with the Italian labor unions that cleared the way for significant investments in that country. The key to the agreement was a common understanding that we collectively needed a new approach that reflects global standards for competitiveness. Now, underlying all these changes that I've cited has been a transformation of the culture of both Fiat and Chrysler. We're bound together by values that are at the core of our organizations: honesty and integrity in our choices, humility and respect in our dealings with others, and an understanding that our actions have consequences that go well beyond our office walls. Now, these values are vital to us being able to confront the future. They underpin our attempt to forge an international alliance, and we're fully cognizant that this is an enormous challenge to bring together the best of two groups without repudiating the distinct identities of either Fiat or Chrysler. Now, rather than a merger that creates a homogeneous entity, we are creating a mosaic. in which each piece keeps its identity but contributes to the whole picture. Over at Cobo Hall during the North American International Auto Show, you can see a significant proof point of what the Alliance is capable of producing. The all-new 2013 Dodge Dart is the first Chrysler Group vehicle to feature a Fiat-derived architecture. The Dart is based on the Alfa Romeo Giulietta with its dimensions made wider and longer for the American driver's preferences. It is an important product in and of itself because the C-sedan market is the biggest retail segment in the US, so roughly 1.6 million vehicles. And for the very first time in a long time, we have a competitive vehicle in what we consider to be an incredibly competitive sector. But the Dart is also significant because it is an acid test of our ability to successfully execute the kind of technology transfer on which our collective future depends. By 2014, the majority of Chrysler's worldwide car volumes will be based on donor architectures from Fiat. And finally, the Dart represents a big step in fulfilling the commitment made by Fiat to help Chrysler introduce its fuel-efficient cars and engines to the North American car market. The fuel efficiency challenge is one of the biggest issues facing the industry, and not just because of daunting government regulations. As an industry, we need to look beyond the narrow interest of our industry and to embrace ecological responsibility because we owe it to our future generations. I believe in our industry's ability to find solutions. Even with traditional combustion engines, we have only skimmed the surface of the ability to squeeze out higher fuel efficiency levels, allowing us to extract much more power out of smaller displacements. I believe that if we unleash our engineering talent, if we can find solutions that are both in line with sustainable mobility while also meeting the desires of our customers for vehicles that are a pleasure to drive. As an industry, we can choose to reject the notion that we cannot do it. We can choose instead to adopt the attitude which was clearly expressed by the Scottish author Carlyle, who said that every noble act is at first impossible. The fuel economy issue brings into focus an even larger question for all of our businesses, and that is finding the equilibrium between industrial logic and ultimately social responsibility. Now, I will not pretend that the answer is easy. Philosophers going back as far as Aristotle have debated what makes a good person and ultimately what makes a good citizen. The question, what makes a socially responsible company, has many answers as there are business enterprises. What is important is that the question itself must be part of our decision-making process. In the end, our real focus is humanity and the societies in which we live. This is not an argument against the power and the necessity of free markets. Capitalism rewards creativity and encourages people to develop their abilities to the fullest. The quest for profits drives our economic progress. None of us have found a better system to improve the standard of living for societies. And profits do allow us to employ workers and to pay taxes, that sustain schools and services. It creates wages that ultimately ripple through the economy, enabling other business to thrive. Global competition forces us to focus our attention on eliminating waste. The economic ups and downs of the past several years have driven home this absolute need for efficiency. And so ensuring survival is a paramount requirement for every business. And it was the crucial consideration for both groups in the Fiat-Chrysler alliance.